Okay, so my goal for right now is to take this plywood right here and cut it into the shape of the back window, because I'm gonna throw the 5,000 BTU air conditioner into that spot. And so I'm just gonna take this one step at a time. I'm gonna cut out the spot to match the air conditioner, and I'm gonna get it painted, and that'll be my job for the day. And then once that's done, I may have to go in here and like start rearranging some of this stuff. I don't think with the smaller AC I'm gonna have to move too much stuff. Maybe the top shelf or something may need some extra clearance, but we'll have to take a look at that more when I get to that point. But in the meantime, all I'm gonna do is focus on getting that thing perfectly cut out to match that thing, and then I'm gonna paint it. Once that's done, then the next step I think I'm gonna do is, when I have at least a couple of days, just in case it takes that long, is I'm gonna pull the window out, install the plywood into the window, and then throw the AC in there, and it should be all done in one step. And like I said, I think I'm gonna go that route instead of trying to put this thing in there, because number one, this thing is quite a bit bigger, and it also uses, I don't know, maybe twice the power. So technically I have the option to run this smaller 5,000 BTU off of my battery bank or the generator. So I have that option. I don't need to set up the generator to run that. With this one I would, and I'd also need a bigger inverter. And then if I ran it off the battery with the bigger inverter, then it's just gonna drain the batteries really fast, and I'll be constantly having to probably run this generator right here to recharge my batteries. So I'm just gonna take the gamble that this 5,000 BTU, if I install it properly, like a window unit is supposed to be, where the back end is outside and it's sealed up properly, which it wasn't very well sealed out there, and there's plenty of airflow, and we tap into the central ductwork of the rear AC of this van, I'm taking a gamble that that's gonna be better than what I had before, and it'll actually keep the van as cool as I need. So if it doesn't work, well then we'll deal with that later. Very tedious, basically. So I've got kind of the shape cut out, but like, you know, I don't want to cut it too close, because if it gets too short, then you got to throw the whole thing away and start all over. So I'm intentionally cutting it a little bit big, and then you just keep putting it back up on the glass and just kind of making little adjustments. You know, I'm just drawing on this where I need to trim, like, you know, wherever I need to trim a little bit off, and then I just take the jigsaw and just cut just a tiny bit more off, put it back up there, make more adjustments. So little by little, I think I'm going to get it to the right shape, because the other alternative is, you know, you think you have, I mean, I have a pattern, but for some reason I don't think that pattern is exactly right. So you cut it too short, now you just got to throw the whole plywood away and go buy another one. So I'm going to keep working on this, and I think little by little we'll get the perfect kind of precise fit if I do it this way. Okay, so I've got the inside cut out, and I figure, like, I did the same thing. I just made the cuts, and then I just kind of put it up to this and started trimming it to get it to be so it would fit. But then I realized that if I tried to stick the AC in from the back side first, like this way, then I would need to cut the hole bigger. And if I put it in from the front, in other words, if this was attached to the van and I take the AC from the outside and I put it in this way, the hole doesn't have to be cut quite as big. So I was able to stop cutting. It's still going to be a gap down here because it has to fit these 2 feet. But this can be, I mean, this will be braced. I'll have some, like a 2x4 or some kind of wood here to brace this anyways and add some more support. So that'll cover that up. So that's not going to be a big deal. The sides are a little bit of a gap because of these things that stick out, but it actually ended up being just about a perfect fit side to side, and the top is like there's not much of a gap up there too. So I'm pretty happy with that because the only gap here is basically in this corner and at the bottom here, but this will all be covered up. And then I got the tape about where this is going to stick out, and of course it'll be adjusted. Probably it'll angle down a little bit, but yeah, so far that turned out pretty good. And I think that I'm sure I'm going to have to go back and trim some of the edges of this stuff once I finally get this window out and start trying to line it up there. Like there's no way it can be that accurate, and I can't be that lucky. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paint this, and I'm probably going to have to touch up and do stuff later, but at least I can get like a good coat of paint or 2 on there now, you know, and then that way once it's in there, all I got to do is just some touch-up paint, and that'll be a lot easier. So all right, let's get this painted. Okay, so we moved over to the paint department, which is right next door to everything else here, and I've just decided to use spray paint just because it's going to be easier, I think, to deal with. So I'm going to use this stuff here. It's got the primer included, and I'm just going to give it a few coats until it looks about right, and let it dry. Then we'll do the other side, and then I'm going to have to get in here and start digging in some of this stuff because I'm going to have to somehow figure out, I still have to figure out how I'm going to tap into these vents up here. So it comes all the way back, right, and then goes down the roof here and then down the side here and into the AC. But I can't get this plastic panel off because this is all one piece that comes from the top here all the way down, covers this whole corner, and then goes along the bottom of the window another foot or 2 in that direction. And there's no way I can get into to undo that stuff. So I don't think, I mean, I could cut through the plastic here, or I could cut through the ceiling material here and tap into it right here. So I have to figure that out and probably move some of this stuff in here anyways, and I'll do that while the paint's drying. Okay, so I changed how I did this. I put it on this rack, that way I could kind of get both sides at the same time. And now I just flipped it. I'm going to do this one here, the top part. But man, I just got to say, this paint sucks, okay? And this stuff ended up being way better, even though it's cheaper. Allow me to demonstrate. Like, what is this? There's nothing there. And then we look at this stuff. I have to come back farther because it shoots out so much. Like, are you kidding me? Hardly anything coming out of this. What is that? So needless to say, I won't be buying this stuff again. I was going to get the Bear brand, but I grabbed this instead, and lesson learned. So this thing is basically done. Going to, once I get done with this and let this dry, then we'll be ready, I think, to pull that window out and fit this in there. And I may have to do some more trimming because I don't know if it's going to be exact once I get it in there. Once the window comes out, I'll be able to tell, and then I'll attach it in there and throw that thing in and seal it up, and should be good to go.